Welcome to the Life Unlimited Coaching channel. This is Coach Kayla. Today, I think that's how I start all my videos. Today I wanted to talk about, I kind of wanted to play off of what I was talking about last week, right? And how last week I talked about moms and how I want to work with moms because they, in my opinion, if all moms changed how they did food and fitness and how they viewed it, it would literally change the world. Like, literally. Because they're the ones that influence their family the most. They're the ones that usually are the ones providing the food for their families. Daughters especially watch their moms like hawks, and it would change the world. And so I wanted to talk about how you should view dieting or food or weight loss or any of that stuff, because we tend to do it wrong. We tend to view it in an odd light. And this came up because I'm reading The Slight Edge right now by Jeff Olson. It's a really good book. If you haven't read it yet, highly recommend. And it's, so if you've read Atomic Habits, I would put it in the same category as Atomic Habits. But Atomic Habits is extremely tactical. Like, it's like, do this to improve your habits. Slight Edge is more, it's like strategic. Like, it's more, think of it this way instead of do it this way. Does that make sense? It makes your brain think about how you do things and why you do things and stuff like that. And so in just the first couple of chapters, he talks about how most of us are really, really good when we have like our back against the wall, right? And unfortunately, a lot of the people that come to me and want to lose weight have their backs against the wall. They've gone to the doctor and the doctor says you're pre-diabetic, you're diabetic, you have heart disease, whatever. All of a sudden they have these health issues. And so now they're motivated to make a change, right? Or on a lower, less dramatic level, you walk into your closet, you pull out your jeans that you haven't worn because it's been summer, and you pull them on and they don't fit, right? And so then you're like, oh, I better make changes. Or you stand on the scale after 6 months and and it's like, whoa, I'm 20 pounds heavier than I was last time I weighed. Like, it's usually something like that makes you shift gears and actually start working out and start eating right. And then as we start to see these little wins and we start to lose the weight and all that stuff, and we get super close to the goal, or maybe we hit our weight loss goal, we stop because we hit it. We did it. And then slowly the weight comes back on, and like, obviously you could do it either way, but he draws these lines, and then there's this little wave in between the lines, and he says he doesn't call the top line the success line, because the success line is actually higher. This line, I can't remember what he calls it, but down here is like the failure line. Very few of us will actually get to failure, but our thresholds are different. Like, for some, it's the trying on the new pants, or the trying on the pants and they don't fit. For some, it's getting on the scale and they're 10 pounds heavier than they want to be. For some, it is going to the doctor and getting that bill of health that's not as good as they want, and basically doctor ordered to change, right? And so what he talks about is, and we do this not just with weight loss, but we do this with business, we do this with finances, we do this with relationships, we do as well as we need to until we don't need to, and then we stop, and then it goes back down, okay? And what he's saying is, if you would just keep going, the amount of success that you would see it's compounded and it's mind-blowing, but most people won't do it. Okay, so for instance, most of us follow some Instagram person, right, that we're like, oh, if I could just have that body, or I could just have that wealth, or I could just have whatever, it would be so much better. And most of us are really good at going really hard at certain points, and then we start to slow down. But the thing about those people is they never slowed down. They had what Jeff Olson calls the slight edge. Okay. So they keep going, and by not stopping, they get exponential returns on the back end because it works like compound interest. Okay. And from my own personal experience, from a strength standpoint, I can attest to, like, it is not the amount of strength gains that I've achieved over the last couple of years by working with a coach and being super consistent is mind blowing to me. Like, I never thought I would be able to bench as much as I'm benching right now. I never thought I'd be able to deadlift as much as I'm deadlifting right now. I never thought I'd be able to squat as much as I'm squatting right now, but it's because I've put in the work, right? But if you'd asked me 4 years ago that, well, in 4 years, Kayla's going to be, hitting these personal records strength wise, I'd be like, you're crazy. How am I going to do that? But all it took was consistency. Do you know what I mean? That's all it took, was just me being consistent at the right things and not stopping. Because all of us can be consistent for a small period of time. All of us can have a 12-week period where we kick butt and we lose weight and we win a competition or a challenge, But it's after the 12 weeks, it's after the fluff and the sparkles and the glitter and the honeymoon phase that's where the actual gains, the actual success comes, right? Is when it's no longer fun. But when it's kind of boring, it's monotonous. It's like, oh, this is easy. Because at this point, it's easy for me to get up and go to the gym. It's easy for me to get my workout in. It's not even hard. Like, it's to the point where if I don't get it in, something's wrong. Like, I'm sick, or like, it is abnormal for Kayla to miss her workouts. And I don't know how many people out there can actually say that they have achieved that level of boring, that level of consistency with their workouts. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying it took me this long to get there, right? And because of that, like, I don't really have to, like, you get to the point where it's monotonous. This is something I've been trying to achieve, like, from a business standpoint too. Is like, I want my business to be boring. I want it to be so boring that, like, I just want it to be boring. And what I mean by that is, like, I want it to be consistent, I want it to be predictable, and I want it to be boring. And we as entrepreneurs, unfortunately, like to get shiny object syndrome. That's what we call it. If you're not in the entrepreneurial space, it's a thing. And we like to break things. Not on purpose. We're trying to make it better, but we usually tend to break it. And so I usually have to, like, rein in my shiny object syndrome because I want to rule the world. Just kidding. But, like, there's a lot, like, I have this calling to serve a lot of people, right? And there's so many different ways to do it, and there's all sorts of fun ways to do it, but ultimately, like, you just have to pick a route and run with it. And then if you do that, then you'll be successful. But most of us stop when things get easy and then go right back down, and then we have to ramp up again. And so what he says in the slight edge is, if you would view it differently, because the problem is we view it like there is a finish line, like there's an end. So we join a 6-week challenge and then we're done in 6 weeks. We set this goal to lose 50 pounds and then we're done when we lose the 50 pounds. We set this goal to lift a certain amount of weight and then we're done when we get there, right? Instead of setting the goal to become the person who is 50 pounds less. And that's what he says is, like, you need to change your philosophy. You need to change what you're trying to, not, because everybody knows what to do, right? Like, I hear it all the time. I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. It's because the reason you're not doing it is because the reason you want to do it is not right, right? Like, if you just want to do these things to lose weight, you will fail every single time, or you will gain the weight back every single time, or you will go right back to where you were because you accomplished the goal. So you're done. But if you're doing it because you want to become the person who does these things day in and day out, then you will become that person. And the cool thing about it is you can start tomorrow. You can become that person tomorrow. Tomorrow. It's not like you have to wait until you're 35 pounds less to become the person. You could be it tomorrow, because tomorrow you can get up and go work out. You can track your food, or you can eat healthy. You can eat clean, whatever you want to define as your, whatever nutritional regimen you want to follow. Tomorrow you can become that person. And then the next day you can be that person. And then the next day you can be that person. And what's cool is the more you are that person, the more you start to actually believe it. And you start to become that person. You start to embody what you want. And then what's cool is 6 months down the road, you lose your 35 pounds or more, and it doesn't feel like it's been hard because you just became the person. It's going to be hard, but it's not going to feel like, oh, I can't wait until this is over. I can't wait until I lose my 35 pounds. It'll just be like, you'll step on the scale, you'll be 35 pounds down, and you'll be like, I'm not really surprised. Now I'm going to go continue doing exactly what I have been doing because this is who I am now. And one of my business mentors, which if you are in the entrepreneurial space at all, you know who he is. He's his name's Alex Hormozi, but he's in the last couple of years, he's exploded. And so he would always say, when I owned the gym, he coached us gym owners, and he'd say, do the boring work. It was like, do the boring work. It is boring. It is monotonous. You don't want to do it. Every single day you dread it, right? There are going to be days when you wake up and you do not want to do your workout. Do it anyway, because that's what needs to be done. You're not doing it because you're trying, if you're at your weight loss goal, it doesn't matter. You still need to do it because you are that person. That's who you are, right? But do the boring work. Do the boring work. And view it differently. View every single day that you get your workout in as a win. The winning doesn't happen when you hit your goal weight. The winning happens as you become this person. So every time you're reinforcing that habit, win, right? Every single time. And then all of a sudden, it will be unreasonable for you to think that you are a person who doesn't work out because you've done it for so long that it's just natural. You are the person who walks every morning. You are the person who gets up at this time. You are the person who reads every morning, or whatever habit you're trying to implement. Get so consistent at it that it just becomes part of who you are. But you have to view it as who you want to become and why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you always have an end game, if you always have a win-lose and you're not winning until you hit this, then you'll always be losing. Because you'll hit it and then you'll stop. So basically just stop stopping. Because you're not there yet. And if you kept going, it would blow your mind at how great it could be. And I've seen it lots of times with women. They come in, I remember at the gym, there were women that would start with us and they'd never lifted weights before, ever, right? And the thought of lifting anything heavier than 10 pounds was just, and then they worked with us for 2.5 years or longer, and they were lifting 45 pounds, doing things with 45 pounds. And to them, it just blew their mind. They never thought for a second that they would be capable of doing stuff like that. But just simple things like that, where if you just kept going, you have no idea what your potential is, because we always live below it. We're always living below it. Because we always do just good enough to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve, and then we stop. So my challenge for you, 2 challenges. 1, read the book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It's really good. And the second thing is write down all these things that you've been wanting to accomplish for a long period of time. Okay, so it could be weight loss, it could be saving money, it could be having a better relationship with your spouse, your kids, whatever. And then write down all of the boring, mundane, seemingly pointless things that you feel like could just tip the scale just a little bit, and then make a commitment to do them. Okay? So, like, if you're trying to lose weight, honestly, if someone is trying to lose weight and all they did was just make sure that they eat like 3 servings of vegetables every single day and drink 80 ounces of water and like consistently did those 2 things consistently every single day, those are simple. But if they did those things, they would feel so much better because they'd be getting a ton of vitamins and minerals that they weren't getting before. They'd feel more nourished, all sorts of stuff. There's little things that you could pick that would feel like stupid easy, but just as easy not to do, and that's the problem. So pick stupid easy things. Finances, stupid easy. I'm going to save $2 a day. If you save $2 a day, all of a sudden at the end of the year, you're at what, $820? Nope, $720, $730. $730. And all you did was save $2 a day. Day in and day out, it seems meaningless. But if you didn't do that, you would just spend the money, right? So if you just 700 and all of a sudden, 2 years later, $1,500, right? Seemingly meaningless. But over time compounds everything. Which is why people that come to me in their 60s who have never worked out, never focused on their health, it's so much harder for them to get back into it because it compounds the other way too. Most of us just hang out right here and kind of go up and down, and lose weight and gain it and do all sorts of stuff. But there's the people they're not too far gone, but it's a lot harder for them to turn around. So that's what I would advise. Like, and if you're trying to be more patient with your kids or be more present with them or any of that stuff, like write down seemingly meaningless things that probably mean more to them than you would think. Like playing Transformers with Stryker for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. To him, that would mean the world because 10 minutes is a long time in the mind of a 6-year-old, right? But sometimes it's hard to like take time away and say, okay, we can play. But if I just say, okay, 10 minutes of this, I can even tell him, like, I'll play with you for 10 minutes. To him, it'll mean the world. To me, it's only 10 minutes, right? So just think of the things that matter, that you want to accomplish. Set very small, seemingly meaningless goals and watch what happens. Hopefully this was valuable. Grab that book. It's really good. And I will chat with you all later.